Join us now for remarkable stories of partnerships across Africa, building the future and changing lives. It's Africa's time.
South Africa is a country of many contrasts, and since democracy eclipsed the apartheid state decades ago, its people have been free. But the struggle for the most basic of human rights continues: the right to a decent, affordable home and a dignified living space. Even for South Africa's growing middle class, the problem persists.
For the years during apartheid, certain population segments weren't allowed to live in the cities. And therefore, as the country has transitioned into a democratic society where people are free to move, we found there is still some segregation within the real estate market. South Africa, of its population of over 50 million, has about 12.5 million households. Of that 12.5 million households, 5 million of those would fall within the category of a workforce income level, that $250 to $2,500 per month. And those households are experiencing quite a shortage of supply of housing. And a lot of that is due to the fact that historically they could not live close to where they work. And now that they are able to do so, they're finding that there just isn't an availability of houses either to rent or to buy.
We've come to downtown Johannesburg to meet Soula Proxenos, managing partner at International Housing Solutions, a global private equity investor committed to helping change the status quo.
So this is it, Joburg.
There's something about this city.
It really is.
You located a problem and you came up with a solution.
The idea was to find a way to bring capital into the affordable housing space in South Africa. This is where people can afford to pay for their own housing, but that the private sector really hasn't been able to provide this housing. Historically, getting mortgages was much harder, but that really has all changed. So this creates a great business opportunity, and at the same time, it fills a social need. The fund is called the South African Workforce Housing Fund, and it really is designed for families who are in the workforce. We were able to raise a little over $200 million into the fund, and using this money, this equity, we were able to finance over 27,000 units of housing across South Africa. And so this, for example, where we're standing now is our very first project. It's very, very exciting. It was a conversion of an office building into residential real estate in the inner city of Johannesburg. This building was actually mothballed when we bought it alongside with our partners, and was now converted into over 400 affordable housing units. A project like this was very much part of the renaissance of the inner city of Johannesburg. We certainly single-handedly did not turn around the city, but it's been very important to show the confidence in the inner city, which really is going through a renaissance as we speak. The rentals start at about $200 a month, and they go up to about $400 to $500 a month. So very much in the affordable space, right in the heart of the city. So for a couple that are working in the city, very little transportation costs, very little commuting time, and great access to a lot of employment and good public transport network.
With idea in hand, Soula set about seeking investors. It was crucial to get the big players on board early to encourage confidence.
I feel enormously proud of what the fund has achieved, but also for the fact that Citi was one of the early investors. And it was because of our leap into the fund that actually attracted other investors to come in. So we enabled the progress of the fund by being an early investor.
I'd heard about another IHS project, a mixed-use residential suburb called Vleuhof, about 40 minutes west of the city. It was built on a former buffer zone between the township of Soweto and the formerly whites-only Roodepoort. Vleuhof's just a few years old, but already a community has emerged. It's a close-to-work address that people seem proud to call home. My guide is the busiest person in Vleuhof, estate agent Wisdom Sikale, who works 24/7 and always lands the deal.
So how long have you been an estate agent?
I've been an estate agent for 6 years now.
How's it treating you?
It's very nice. I like it. I like working with people.
Yeah. I've heard about you, that you're the man. If anyone wants to buy a house in Vleuhof, you're the guy.
Definitely they are right, those people. I'm the guy. Everybody knows me in Vleuhof. I've sold absolutely each and every street a house.
Really? How are you doing? I mean, how's business for you?
House business is fine, especially on this side, because most of the people here, it's a new couple, young couples.
Yeah.
And the area is very good for business-wise.
Hello. I'm Ngiyaphila.
Meet Lisa.
Hello, Lisa.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. And how are
I
you?
want to buy a house.
Oh, okay. You can have a seat. You guys can have a seat. You guys can have a seat.
Oh, this is great, promise. This is so cool.
It is my own home.
How long have you had it?
Since December last year. When I met Wisdom, he introduced me to these houses, and I felt, well, I pay less here buying and having a bond other than renting a flat, and it was a 1-bedroom flat. This is like a 2-bedroom house.
That's amazing.
So
I don't know why more people don't do that. You've got property, equity, bricks,
and an investment. It's a good investment.
So for a few $100 less than you were renting, you now own a property. You own this.
I own this. It is mine.
I know the feeling.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful feeling.
It's mine.
Yeah. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine.
The great beauty of owning a property is that you're having the opportunity to create wealth through capital appreciation. And this has been denied to many, many South Africans for generations. And this is an opportunity to right that wrong.
For a lot of people in Africa, I think I see a lot of resilience, I see determination, so I see a lot of people trying and struggling to make ends meet and to survive. It is because of the resilience of people of Africa that we now have high, rapid economic growth rate in Africa, that we also have a lot of opportunities for them. But I also see a lot of challenges. But overall, I think people of Africa are enterprising, they are willing to take risks, and they are motivated to do more. The importance of the private sector in all of these partnerships is because the private sector is actually the engine of growth for Africa. The private sector has helped to produce 70% of Africa's output. It has also helped to generate 90% of employment opportunities on the African continent. And so partnerships are very essential to drive development agenda in Africa.
I think this is the great story of Africa. It's the rising middle class. It's this consumer class who is able to actually buy and pay for services, that is offering businesses of a number of different kinds this huge opportunity to do great business in Africa.
I went to the bank and approached for finance. I said, no, yes, you can qualify. Then I said, my darling, let's go for it. I'm going for it. It took around 2 weeks, and it was approved by then. I said, oh yes, thank God. But I didn't tell my parents yet. I said, no, let me keep quiet. But I was excited by then. First thing, we came to this place of Vleuhof, and then we came to this house. I was very, very nervous when we parked my car outside there. And then, lucky enough, we came into the gate, and then he opened the door. I said, wow, I saw everything. I said, no, you know what, I'm going for it. I'm very proud of myself.
It's a good place, this.
Yeah, it's very nice place. It's a very nice place.
Citi has always been very committed to making a positive contribution to the economic transformation process in South Africa. And one of the elements of that is empowerment of historically disadvantaged individuals. We felt the best thing that we could do to make a positive contribution would be to invest equity into the root cause of the problem, which was to invest in a fund that would build houses for sale for people within that income level, but also rehabilitate the inner cities and create a supply of rental properties.
With better paying jobs over the past years, many South Africans have been able to move out of townships like neighboring Soweto, from where the majority of Vleuhof homeowners originate. Overcrowding, crime and lack of amenities in large parts of the township have been replaced with a totally different lifestyle just up the road. Vleuhof offering a very important physical expression of upward mobility and an exciting new lifestyle for South Africa's growing middle class.
The transport is very reliable here. There are taxis along the road, there are buses, there's a recreation center as well, there's a crèche as well, and then now I think they're starting to build a school as well.
Past and future stand side by side in Vleuhof, but it's the kids of the suburb who hold the energy and dreams of an even brighter tomorrow. They've had a very different upbringing to many of their parents and have powerful imaginations about what's possible for them in the future.
What kind of a house do you want to live in when you're big?
I want to live in a mansion. It's gonna be, I want everything in the house to be red.
Red?
And jacuzzi.
Ah, a jacuzzi.
You know, there are a lot of competing places for people to put their dollars. For the continent, for the African continent, to attract capital, we really have to put our best foot forward and give a really strong and smart business plan as to how this capital will be deployed.
Our engagement with IHS is not a gift, it is an investment. And what that does, at the end of the day, it has a way of reinforcing each other, that we benefit, the society around us benefit. And that is why we want to be here. We want to use that to bend the arc of history towards progress for this continent.
I really firmly believe we only live once, and so you really need to take an idea that you have, to have the confidence in it, and to go for it. And the worst case scenario is it doesn't work.
And the best case scenario?
Is it works like this, and you really have the opportunity to turn around and say, I've been part of the creation of over 27,000 units of housing in a country that desperately needs affordable housing. And the opportunity to replicate this across the entire African continent.